What's up, everybody? Lawler, your inside source for all things Rocket League. With the trade window starting to approach, there's a lot of teams, as we've mentioned over the past couple of weeks, starting to get into the adjustments they want to make for this spring split coming up. That actual trade window won't be until next week, so we still have a little bit of time, but there is some that have already jumped the gun beforehand. Today's video, I'm going to be breaking down what those teams are, who they are, some of the rumors, and put some of those things to bed because we do have some confirmation on some of the rosters that will be approaching in the spring split. Hey everybody, Lawler here, and going to be talking about some rosters that are changing or that have been confirmed. We had some organizations that dropped out that have picked up new teams, as well as some organizations that have left altogether, but rumors of them picking up other ones as well. So some exciting things to confirm. The first one we're going to start over in Europe is with Rix.gg. Obviously, as you guys know, they didn't have the best performance, so they did release their roster. That has now changed. On February 12th, they did put out a press release talking about how Rix.gg's path to Rocket League Redemption. This is a play on words as they have picked up the former Redemption roster. In the post, they do talk about how it's a fast-growing and top UK esports organization, and it has signed the entire Redemption roster as it begins a new chapter. Redemption, results-wise, has actually been pretty solid over the past month and a half, slowly climbing and consistent results towards the top 10, which is significantly better than what the former roster was, where they were usually in the 16th to 20th when it came to results. The roster will be Mike Boy, Cash, and Aslan alongside their coach as well. This roster beat Endpoint in the tiebreaker qualification, will represent Rix.gg at the Winter RLCS EU Major. That will not be until this weekend, so a smart move actually just business-wise for Rix.gg to not only go and upgrade the roster choice, but also get it in a team that qualified for the Major, so they'll have representation on the main broadcast as well, coming up on this Saturday and Sunday for that event. This team does have a lot of talent and a lot of capability to play upsets. It'll be interesting to see on how that plays out. They do talk with Jamie Lewis, the founder, and says, "I'm incredibly excited to welcome such a talented team to the Rix.gg roster. We have lofty ambitions at Rix and can't wait to see where we go with one of the best Rocket League teams in Europe." Ibrahim Taylor, the Rocket League manager, then says, "With the departure of the last roster, a large void was felt here at Rix. I feel we have filled this void with one of the best teams in Europe and hopefully with our support, the world." So obviously high ambitions for the roster. We're very excited to work with these talented young players and show everyone what they're capable of. I personally think it's a really good pickup. I assume they got them for a relatively cheap deal. Obviously, not having a previous team and a previous buyout, this should be relatively cost effective, to be completely honest. I think Redemption's a really good team and a lot of positives. Hopefully with some structure and some financial stability, it'll make the team even better and motivate them to perform well. Obviously, good ways to do this are incentive-based contracts. Who knows what those details are? Probably not going to find out. But either way, happy for the Redemption squad now, Rix. Staying in Europe, another team that has disbanded. Obviously, there was a lot of rumors about where Calix was going to end up after he got the boot from his team. Where were things going to result in? And apparently Calix has announced a new team called Howard. Yes, it is a first name of a person, I guess. I don't know how they came to this name, but it is what it is. It could possibly be another like pet of somebody's that they're playing. I don't know. These people have weird names. They're kids. But the team will be Calix, Polar, and Joyo. So interested to see on how this team ends up playing out. It looks like they are pretty confident in their capabilities, but the team does have quite a bit of experience over the past probably couple months, primarily Calix and Polar. Excited to see if the young gun coming in will make a big difference for the team. But again, if they're feeling pretty confident about it, I don't see the issue ultimately based upon who's all playing. We then go over to North America, and there's a lot of rumors surrounding Charlotte Phoenix about what was going to happen. Possibly somebody going to be retiring, possibly Kinsey working out for the team. And that is not the case. Apparently, what was supposed to happen is that Kinsey was going to take over for Karma, and then they were going to continue on their team. The other rumor was that Charlotte Phoenix was potentially dropping the roster, and then they were going to pick up Jamal Jabary, who is Toasty, LJ, and Krazix with Sad Jr. as coach. Not sure the exact details on that, but what has happened is Charlotte Phoenix did put out a tweet and a video saying, "What a ride it's been. All boost from beginning to end. Today we part ways with our Rocket League roster. Thank you, Karma, Shadow, Alraz, and Jimmer, their coach." The team does and has disbanded. The other side of this as well is that it does look like Karma has said on her stream that the team will not be continuing together. This was then further confirmed by an announcement from Alraz, which does show that Alraz, Shadow, and Kinsey are getting back together from Stromboli. So Stromboli is seeing a revival, and this will be for the winter split. So exciting to see how that does. A lot of talent on this roster. Excited to see if it is going to be a recreation of positive or negative. Obviously, that's always a difficult thing based upon the way that things trend and being away from a certain team, but you just really never know. This team does have a lot of talent, but ultimately, I'm kind of curious on how the playstyle is going to work out. I'm not sure exactly how things are going to mesh through. Kinsey taking a little bit of a break as well after being released from his former team. And Shadow and Alraz obviously have not been on the positive side of things. So maybe a fresh look will reinvigorate the team and allow them to progress forward. But ultimately, we don't know until the results show for themselves. There is going to be a lot of downtime. And I'm happy to see that some of these teams are progressing forward at a very rapid rate. But with the trade window coming up, it's kind of weird because I don't know if some of these things are going to retroactively come back to burn them, where like other teams have become available or other players become available because of these changes. And then all of a sudden they're just like, well, crap, we made a decision way too fast. And now we could have had this other player that's better. So again, with these, you never really know. You just have to sit and wait and see how things end up in the long term. Last but not least, as a quick summary, if you guys want to take a peek at the bracket, South America Major for the winter split ended up going down. And in Friday's video, I ended up talking about the results, who I think was going to be the most popular, who had the best chance of winning, what I thought it was going to be. And we were pretty much spot on. The top teams that we mentioned were the top teams in the top 5 that results-wise made it to the semifinals. Those in order were True Neutral, Novus AV, we had Noble, we had Rebel, and then we had Carnage Gaming as well. Looking at all of these, the big upset was PDHM beating Carnage in losers round 2. But other than that, things went pretty much as expected, where True Neutral came out with dominant fashion, played really well. But the exciting thing to kind of skip some of the details is actually the grand finals. The grand finals, we did see a bracket reset. This is the second one that we've gotten so far in the RLCS X season. BDS also had one over in Europe in a previous split. So the reverse sweep bracket reset stuff hasn't really been too popular. But overall, the way you look at it and the way that things have played out, credit where it is due. Novus had a pretty long day. The nice thing is they do have very small amount, only 12 teams playing in this, so the matches did go a little bit faster. But ultimately, you can tell that there's a clear top 2 in the region. Noble sometimes has some moments, Rebel sometimes has some moments, but there's definitely some inconsistency. On the other side of this, I will say that primarily Novus did play better throughout the entire series. True Neutral was able to get some wins that I did not expect them to get. Like, I would get sidetracked by someone in chat during the watch party or something. I would look back up and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, True Neutral won that series or that game. And you're like, wait, what happened? How did they win? Because Novus has been playing better the entire time. It just seemed like Novus really had their number towards the end. As a summarization of South America, there's a lot of mechanics. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of things, but I ended up doing my watch party on Sunday. So yesterday with Sad Jr. and he and I sat and talked for about 2 hours about what we were seeing and stuff. And we pretty much came up to the decision that yes, there's a lot of offense. Yes, there's a lot of aggression, but the defensive rotations just don't make sense. AJG gets special credit and a special shout out from me because of his decision on rotations back to go for demos and try to pick something up advantage-wise. But you just don't really see it. Some of the small things that are just so obvious to the other regions like North America and Europe, you don't really get in South America, and they're still a little bit behind. With that said, I will say they're like number 1, number 2 teams I think could push in like a top 6, top 8 in the world if they were competitive. I feel like they could go up against like the 5, 6 in NA and be pretty competitive. It's just they lack so much on defensive rotations. There's so many things that you see from them that I'm just like, why is there nobody there? Why are you challenging here and putting yourself in a really bad position to where now you're facing the wrong way or you're not moving, or like all these really fundamental things that allow you to continue to be successful in a defensive situation that they just do not do. And it's things that I think could be cleaned up. I think if someone really takes these teams under a microscope and a coach comes in and is really going to be able to point those things out, you could see a pretty quick and drastic change to the region in their playstyle. But primarily, a lot of offense, a lot of really exciting plays. You should be able to see it on the subreddit as well, of just like all the crazy flip resets and this and that. But a lot of times the reason why those solo plays work is because the defense is broken down so easily. So credit to the players. I think Novus did some really exciting pass plays as well, where just heads up plays where instead of going for the direct, they go for the pass instead. AJG again going for like backflip touches. But the biggest thing I take away out of this from both teams, Novus and True Neutral, both very solid teams, should provide a lot of competition in the future. But ultimately, Novus's day, those guys, primarily Kyle's a freak, still really, really talented. Ended up stepping up huge for his team, while Razebull kind of dropped off. I had a lot of expectations of Razebull to come in like he did in the previous day, And today just did not feel like his day in the grand finals. I don't know if there was just a break or what, but server issues and pauses and all these other kind of things definitely plagued throughout the tournament, which is really unfortunate. But either way, it was super entertaining. And I will say that as a kind of final thought, the matches were entertaining without a doubt. We had a good time in chat. Everybody was hanging out. I even casted some of the matches to kind of educate a little bit, which was pretty fun. But again, good stuff overall. And a pretty solid major, not gonna lie. South America major was really fun to watch. That is gonna do it for me. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about what's going on in the scene, links to everything I'm talking about in the description down below. But if you do have additional ones, make sure you leave a comment and I'll do my best to get back to it. Other than that, as always, if you enjoy the content, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, all that fun stuff. And we'll catch you next time. Peace.